You are. On quite a bit of issues that are happening in the Tobago space. And one significant issue that is happening is the mixed messaging that we're hearing right now concerning the opening of the new A&R Robinson International Airport. I say mixed messaging because for those of us on the ground, we are hearing that the airport is going to be opened. But in reality, what we're having is the cutting of the ribbons to hand over a terminal building. Now, Tobago, a building could never be considered an airport. An airport is a complex not just of the physical infrastructure, but it also involves the kind of certification required to make it a functional airport, guaranteeing efficient connectivity of passengers to locations and destinations. That is not what we're having. What we're seeing is a rush to have a ceremony that puts a name on a plaque and provides talking point for a party on the campaign trail. Now let me ask you, Tobago, is that what we deserve? Is that really all Tobago is worth? That on the eve of our Prime Minister leaving office, all we can get for our airport is a shell? A shell that would likely stay as a white elephant for the next year or so? Because then we'd have to look at how do we ensure we have the kind of certification required to make this airport operational. It was at our last press conference that we raised the issues concerning security and safety certification. We noted the gaps when we looked at the fact that this airport was sited so close to residential areas, in literal stone's throw away from homes and businesses, with a public roadway running right up on the facility itself. So much so, as we said, that it appears that the roof of the terminal building, part of it, is overhanging the sidewalk. Now, if we are familiar with international standards for security and safety, we would understand that this airport requires a buffer zone from these public areas. And if it requires a buffer zone, where is that buffer zone coming from, I ask you? We are only left to deduce, and I say deduce because nobody is saying anything. The powers that be are not, they're numb. Where it comes to the acquisition of additional lands to create the buffer zone. Lands opposite the airport, lands to the west of the airport. There is the likelihood that those lands will have to be acquired. And whatever structures are housed on those lands would have to be demolished so that you can create the buffer zone required for the airport to get the security and safety certification needed that would make it operational. To this date, we know that the airport has not gotten those security certification. So, we are left to ask, when will the government talk to us, the people, and let us know what really is afoot where land acquisition is concerned, so as to ensure that our airport, quote unquote, can become operational. Not only that, we also, as the IDA, raised the issue about access to this airport. This airport is going to be accessed by the very narrow Tobago local road. No allowance, it seems, was made for appropriate road network accessing to an international airport. Where is the THA in all this? Apparently the THA was so tied up in using whatever limited resources it claims it was getting to build a highway that ends up nowhere and leaves us without proper access into the airport, when it should be spending its time engaging in conversation with central government so as to clearly define the access into the airport and the egress coming back out. We spent our time fighting with private property owners to build a highway that ends up going nowhere. So they have chosen to abdicate their responsibility. They have chosen to leave Tobago guessing where that is concerned. Are we to guess also that lands are to be acquired to redesign the Tobago local road or even widen it to make it more appropriate for airport access? Tobagonians, let us ask the questions of our leaders. Let us ask them, where do we stand? Are we to be going through another bundle of fiasco as the first land acquisition that we have, where property owners' properties were acquired and not sufficiently compensated? Where the community was so impacted and persons dislocated, are we going that direction again? I certainly hope not. But let me reiterate to us, physical infrastructure for an airport, the terminal building, the tarmac, the hangar, the air traffic control, these physical infrastructure alone does not a functioning airport make. We have to ensure that we meet international standards where security, safety, and traffic flow is concerned. No international airport, and I dare say no airport, can function without those approvals, without those certifications. So while come the 15th, the ribbon will be cut for that airport. And we want to acknowledge, yes, that this airport construction was started under the current Prime Minister. And he wants credit for it. Nothing's wrong with that. But are we rushing to give credit to the detriment of us, the people, so that one man, one party looks so good, but the remaining 60,000 people in Tobago and the 1.3 million in Trinidad are left with a monument that says another physical structure has been made, but its use is not yet determined. And how long are we going to wait for that use to come into play? We can only guess. But the issue alone is not just about the airport and its physical location. And again, I want to hammer home the point that I want most Tobagonians to get. Are we going to have another forced land acquisition? Tobagonians, I want you to understand that, we went through that. People still hurting from that. Some people still unable to replace the homes they lost. The compensation they got in no way allows them to rebuild or replace what was taken. So we're still smarting. And yet we have before us, I dare say, on the election, the real possibility that we're going down that road again. So, Tobago, note carefully so that when you go to read your finger, you know how you're reading your finger. Don't let it escape you. And like I said, beyond just the physical location of the airport and the issues concerning security and possibly another set of forced land acquisition, there is the whole issue of the potential commerce that can come out of this airport project and whether or not Tobago and Tobagonian businesses will be able to take advantage of that. I mean, right up to this moment, you know what is so unfortunate? As we, the IDA, have been meeting with the vendors in the old airport, those vendors who have been marketing our Tobago famous Bene balls, sugar cake, preserved mangoes, plums, pomsity, tulum, while we have been meeting with them to understand where they stand with this move that is about to happen, they are on the verge of being displaced with no guarantee that they will be considered in the new airport. And nobody, no one has reached out to them. None of the people in authority, not from the THA, not from the central government, has reached out to them to let them know where they stand. So literally they are in limbo, on the verge of having their livelihoods crushed. They are on the verge of having their family security, where income is concerned, just washed away. But it seems as nobody is paying any mind to where they fall in the light of this project. I am asking, therefore, the question, where is the representation for these vendors? Where are Tobago reps? You know, it has been said all the time that when we have a central government and a THA that have the same political party governing their space, as they would say, a PNM central government and a PNM THA, we prosper. Let me ask those vendors who are on the verge of being displaced, did they see that then? Or even now, where you have your two representatives as part of the central government, are you seeing anybody fighting your case? Ask yourself that. There's a famous saying that one of our Tobago representatives made when trying to make a point in Parliament. Nobody lives there. Well, apparently nobody lives there where this issue is concerned with these Tobago vendors. But we understand, you just ain't live there. You're working there, you're getting your livelihood from there, you're surviving through that. Generationally, you have supported your home and your family through your efforts being employed that way. We see you. We, the IDA, see you. And that is why we have been talking to you, hearing what your issues are, and working with you to see how it is we can get you what may be needed. Let me say, I need to ask also the Minority Council, where are you on this? As one of our Calypso artists would have said this year, you need to talk about that. You need to talk about the issue that these Tobago businesses face. And yet again, we don't even know, not just the small business vendors for traditional Tobago sweets that have done us proud, but what about the duty-free spaces? We have heard nothing about access to duty-free spaces for Tobago businesses. Are they to compete with everybody else just like the vendors who are given no guarantee? Is there any equity in the approach that will be taken to ensure that Tobago businesses benefit from a project like this in its own backyard? Are we going to be left, whenever this airport becomes operational, with this monument of potential business opportunity right in our backyard, but we can't take advantage of it? And the Tobago economy cannot benefit from it? Is that where we are going to rest? I want to say that right now, we can literally say that we have been betrayed by the central government and the PNM-led central government, and we have been left abandoned by this TPP-led THA administration. I say we have been betrayed by the central government because it seems that their focus is only about cutting a ribbon to a shell of an airport that will not become functional in under a year, and that may be a very conservative and positive outlook, and a central government that it seems is trying to pull wool over our eyes because we're not hearing anything about what they would have to do to ensure that they can get the security and safety certification needed to make these airports operational. So we're not hearing anything on land acquisition. It's only going to jump up and bite us suddenly just down the road. So let's keep our eye open for that. And I say we have been abandoned by the THA administration because they have not stayed in the discussion with the central government to ensure that Tobago's interest is represented with this new airport project. They have not stayed to have the kind of discussion necessary to ensure that access to the airport is done well, to ensure that Tobago businesses are guaranteed a space within the operation of the airport so that the economic benefits can come to the economy as well. They have not stayed engaged even with the vendors, even with potential businesses, to prepare them to ensure that they can take advantage of the opportunities. They have just thrown up their hands. So to those leaders, to those in charge, I am calling you out to say you need to take up your responsibility. THA, you need to get in the game. You need to act as the representative for the people of Tobago, the persons who have elected you there to look after their interests. You need to engage with the central government to ensure that Tobago's business is taken care of. To the representatives, the Tobago representatives in central government, we need to hear all your voice. You can't be numb when it comes to issues that affect the very constituents that you say you are there to serve and represent. And to the people of Tobago, I am telling you that it is time for you to vote in your own self-interest. You see, this year's election, both THA and the central government, you need to ensure that you vote in your best interest. You are seeing what you are getting now: betrayal and abandonment. and you're seeing that the IDA has been engaging you. So, let good sense prevail. I want to thank you for giving me the air, and I am open to any questions you may have at this point in time.
From what you understand, Ms. Sherman, to what extent is work still to be done in the airport? You mentioned it being a shell and it may not become operational in a year's time. Give me a sense of what is still to be done.
As far as I am aware, it is a terminal building that is being handed over. There is still work to be done on the taxiway, the runway. I think there's still pitching to be done. There is still work to be done in terms of the kind of certification to bring it online to be operational. The different sort of approvals necessary to make it functional, that has not been done as yet. In fact, before those can be done, the physical part of it needs to be addressed. So the security issues needs to be addressed. The buffer zone, the perimeter security, those need to be taken into account so that they can conform and comply with international safety standard. So that has not been addressed, and that is why I put a year conservatively, because if we are to go to land acquisition and that sort, we know the kind of time frame that that in itself may take. Any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, I thank you for giving me the air. But I also want to call on the political leader of the IDA to continue to ring the alarm bells on the issue of Carnival, our Tobago National Carnival, and the opportunities that may lie therein now that the event has passed, but also to ring the bell on the strength that exists in 2 standalone Tobago seats at the parliamentary level. So Dr. Soyafat Angus, the podium is yours.
We say good afternoon to the people of Tobago, Trinidad, the diaspora, wherever you are, and thank you to members of the media who are here with us today. And I almost feel like I don't need to stand here and talk anything else after you listened to Kay Trotman talk about the issues affecting us greatly right now where the airport is concerned. She was quite comprehensive. I feel very proud of Kay. Thank you for that delivery. And, at this point, Tobagonians have really endured neglect throughout the years, broken promises, and continued erosion of our rights to be a self-determined people. And we must recognize, and even from the delivery that Ms. Trotman went through, that our representatives have been silenced in the parliament. They are bound by a system that prioritizes national agendas over Tobago's urgent needs. Again, the new airport is a glaring example of that. Built on Tobago soil, yet offering no guaranteed opportunities for Tobago's businesses. Let's ask ourselves, Gilles Piaco in Trinidad, how many Tobago businesses you have in Piaco in Trinidad? Isn't it by right, if we have an airport in Tobago, that we are guaranteed at least 60% of the spots inside of the airport for Tobago businesses? I mean, come on. It's not just on Tobago soil for us to drive by and look at the beautiful airport. The days for that are long gone. Long gone. Okay? You see, you're bringing economic activity to Tobago. Let us be an integral part of that. We also have the unresolved land title issues, the inadequacy of our port. You know, we're still in the stages of, you know, if the cruise ship is here, the regular sailing can't occur, and all of those mix-ups that we continue to have. Yet, there's silence in terms of how that is being championed in the parliament. What about the night travel, the late night travel that we used to have prior to COVID? That has not been reinstituted. People have to cramp their days, you know, to fit the air bridge. And so that too in itself, silence. You know? And so if you talk to Tobagonians on the street, they're very resigned because they feel as if their vote meant nothing, that in a general election, they go down to Trinidad and they do whatever they want in Trinidad and have nothing to do with Tobagonians after the vote is sent. But Tobagonians should not accept this status quo nor give up this easily. Now is not the time to give up. Now is the time to fight even harder. The idea recognizes that the true representation cannot be achieved by those who are constrained by accepting ministerial positions or government portfolios. That is why the idea is stepping forward with a bold and uncompromising approach. For the upcoming general election, the idea will field 2 Tobago candidates. Tobago candidates who will be true representatives of the people and your voices in Parliament. They will stand in unwavering support of Tobago's rights and development. You know, history would have shown where I believe it was A.N.R. Robinson and Dr. Murray, that when they were not aligned with any party, that is when Tobago got their first autonomy bill that was approved. Okay? So since then, we have been at a standstill with leaders aligning this way, aligning that way, and not getting us anywhere anytime soon, because they become mum to the national agendas once they align either way. And so I know Tobagonians are confused, thinking, oh, well, if you don't align with this government, well, we wouldn't get anything. That is not true. Okay? How has the alignment in the past, what has that gotten us? It has gotten us silence on issues that are real to us, right? The real quality of life is determined by the quality of leadership you have at the Tobago House of Assembly level and the understanding of the THA in providing the policies and determining the priorities that would improve your quality of life. Okay? So that is the distinction that is supposed to be between a THA and the general elections that are coming up. So you need to have both in place, because you need to have laws that would protect you. Laws that, for instance, you know, we have this issue of people being charged. And you're being charged, and for 10, 15 years, the case has not been called. And what happens then? What happens then is that you can't get a proper job. You're being treated in a certain way. You're being shunned, okay, for 15 years without a fair day in court, whether it is to absolve your name or to finally be convicted. So you're living 15 years of your life in limbo. That is what you want your parliamentarians to go down there and talk about. That is what is critical. And in exchange, you want your Tobago House of Assembly, because remember, they have to give us the money anyway. Yes? They have to give us our 4.03%. But you ask yourselves, with the different people joining up down there in cabinet and government, have we gotten much more than that? They could give us up to 6.9% tomorrow if they wanted, without a change in the autonomy bill. But being in that cabinet has not given us additionally extra. Plus the fact that really we have an act, a law that says the Prime Minister and the Chief Secretary are supposed to have regular meetings for the well-being of the island and the governance of the island. And that is where they work out issues as to what else can be done. Because when Tobago progresses, the nation progresses, the country progresses, because we are half the country. Don't look at size, don't look at the number of people. We are half the country. It's Trinidad and Tobago, not Trinidad and Port of Spain or Trinidad and San Fernando. It is Trinidad and Tobago. So we are half the country. So it's in the best interest for the two leaders of both islands to really get together and determine the future of the country through the future of the island. It is unfortunate that these two Tobago boys, one in Trinidad and one in Tobago, did not see it fit to get together and ensure the best interest of the island. Okay? We heard Ms. Trotman talk about the missed opportunities, right? Where THA just take their hands off of the wheel where the airport is concerned. The airport is on Tobago soil. You should have been in there minding your business on behalf of the people of Tobago. If you were in there minding your business, we would know how the airport, how you're getting into and out of the airport. We would know where those 12 vendors who are left stranded right now, that they do have a space in there, that you created some sort of vehicle that they could function and still be able to ply their trade in some sort of fashion, something that has gone on for generations for them. But that did not happen. Okay? So I hope that people understand the difference and the importance of voting in general election, to make sure you have laws that would protect you as a citizen, right? And in respect, of Tobago, to ensure that Tobago's rights are in those laws. And secondly, that you have a Tobago House of Assembly with the quality of leadership that can truly take this island forward and take this island to a level where we are not just dependent on 4.03%, but we have begun to generate a significant income from our investments in our assets on the island. And so, what you want, our ideate representatives will champion Tobago's autonomy and demand meaningful constitutional reform, because this country deserves constitutional reform. We saw where the Prime Minister put out something with a committee and had people running around the place, and all of a sudden you can't hear anything now about constitutional reform. Again, that was just a flag waving ceremony that we were having. Well, these two representatives will be championing constitutional reform for the country and also Tobago's autonomy. They will advocate for legislation that ensures communities have the right to govern themselves in a way such that they can address the needs at the community level, and they will have the resources that they need to do it. Why that is important? Because you don't want a situation where one administration comes in and they're doing one thing with the communities, another administration comes in and says, we're not doing that again. So what you want is the community's interest to be protected in law, such that it don't care which THA administration comes into being, the community's rights are protected and the resources that they are to get are protected by law. The IDA representatives would work towards exposing and eliminating ineffective laws that punish, and as I said, imprison citizens in legal limbo for over a decade, leaving them unable to work or contribute to society. IDA representatives will refuse positions of being Prime Minister or Minister of Finance that only serve to maintain the illusion of power without delivering real benefits to Tobago. Remember, Robinson was both Minister of Finance and Prime Minister, and Tobago never saw the benefits that they thought they should see back then. So it is only when he and Murray were non-aligned in the Parliament that Tobago saw its first autonomy bill approved. It was a big jump then. And then you had little incremental things. It is time we make a big jump by sending 2 non-aligned representatives to Trinidad, to Parliament. The representatives will negotiate our parliamentary support on critical bills in exchange for Tobago's rights and fair and rightful treatment. The time for compromises and empty promises is over. It is time for us to stand up as Tobago. And I don't care what political party you belong to. It is time for you to really take off your hats and examine what you're voting for. It's time for us as Tobagonians to vote for ourselves, right? There are 39 seats in Trinidad. They could decide what they want with the 39 seats, who they want to govern. But your 2 seats will be going down to speak specifically for you, your views, and by extension, views that may affect the citizenry across the country. Because we have many Tobagonians living in Trinidad also. Yeah? So they will be speaking up and they will be focused on that. It is time that we don't get distracted by the trinkets of a government position that continues to distract our representatives who go down there, who then end up with silence in Parliament for issues that are important to us in Tobago. It's time that you get 2 representatives who are prepared to talk about that. And so, we're calling on all Tobagonians. Join us in this fight. Not just for change, but for real, lasting empowerment of our people and our communities. Join us. Any questions?
When will the announcement of these candidates be made?
We are going through the process right now. They are in the communities getting a broader impact from the people there. And then after that process, we will be able to do that. Yeah? We are waiting to see when the elections are being called. Yes. And we will decide from there. Yeah? So we tell people we like to work with the heart over the hype. Yeah? There'll be a time for hype. But right now they're working with the hearts. Any other questions? Okay. So, the topic of the year, of the century, everybody is weighing in on Tobago Carnival, National Carnival in Tobago, who say we shouldn't have it. Yeah? Mr. Gypsy say, oh, you shouldn't waste all your money on that. All of that. Well, he changed his tune because when he first talked, he used to talk about having 2 carnivals in Tobago. So he changed the tune. But I'm saying that National Carnival celebrations in Tobago is part of our history. It is part of the law. Monday and Tuesday Carnival, it's enacted in law that you get Monday and Tuesday as part of our Carnival celebrations. Yes, it is national. So I don't know that we could just sit down and fold our arms and do nothing when there are huge opportunities with it. We have had generations of mask makers in Tobago, pan and calypsonians, who continue to be a vibrant part of the culture, but they need support. When you're starving them, yes, for the support they need to grow and to be nurtured, then you can't expect anything to happen, right? I know that, I'm not too sure about the PAN. I was able to call and find out about the PAN, whether they got their resources in terms of, travel between the islands. I know that Ms. Ramsey Moore is quite skilled and, she will support her Tobago PANs, but I don't know how much the THA has given or even promised. I know for a fact that the band leaders, they've gotten nothing. And normally they will get their stipend. When I was secretary, they would get their stipend months in advance. It might have been little, but really it's the mental part of it that signals Carnival is about to start. Get in your workshops and do what you need to do. Nothing. Okay? Most of all, our calypsonians, we had a number of tents this year going through the communities, creating entertainment, and they're doing that without even a promise from the administration as to really how much they will get, in terms of covering those bills to go out there and do that. I don't know if people understand that it takes a calypsonian probably close to $5,000 to create the calypso, to go into studio and sing it, to have it, put together as a nice production. You have to pay for all of that. Studio time is not cheap. So by the time you do that, it's about $5,000. Many of them who are singing in tents around the communities, not even getting $5,000 when the THA give them the pittance that they want to give them. So you could tell that they're doing this out of their heart. And some of them can't even really, live a full life because they love the art form and they rather just spend the money without getting much returns. And that is not nice. It is not kind. It is not going to help the preservation of the culture, because the young ones coming up going to say, who, me? I'm not going and do like that and be squanting all over the place. I love, calypso that much to do that, right? Those who went to Trinidad, it takes resources to go down to Trinidad for accommodation, for carrying your support, for taking your props, for paying props in Trinidad. It costs a whole lot of money. Yet, they have not been given a promise of any kind of support. They have not been given any support. And I must, commend all of those who made it down to semi-finals, whether in the calypso, whether in the soca, okay? And what they would have done on the stage made Tobago proud. To Rosalind Reed for making it to the finals on Dimanche Gras, congratulations, we commend you, we stand with you. And I support that song that you sang years ago. It's time that we have our own big yard. It coming soon. Okay? The administration does not understand the importance of development of our artists and preservation. I am sure Verse has not gotten any money from them. Yeah? Now Verse went from being a wild card to second place. A young man, distinguishing himself like that on the national stage. You should be rushing to see how you can support that young man to go further. Because there are so many other young men whose lives have gone. They have been murdered, crime. If you see one doing well, go ahead, rush in to support so that he could become the beacon of hope for the others. I listened to young brother's story. Those are the people we need to support so they become the light, the hope for the rest who are out there. And there's a lot of talent we have in this whole Tobago here. We need to find ways and spaces to nurture it. It's important. Having a musical academy is important. That is where you can nurture all of them and you show them how they can create the music so that we can begin to export music. It's not only agriculture products you could export music too. And so, when you look at the portfolio of the Tobago Festival Commission, and you have the NCC, which is the Carnival in Trinidad, but it was really to establish other festivals and be a viable national, cultural, and commercial enterprise. Yeah? Providing the necessary infrastructure for its efficient preservation and marketing, and ensuring the preservation and display of our festivals. And we're talking particularly today about the Carnival. We know that the Tobago October Carnival has shown promise with the increased number of visitors to the island. But when you listen to the stakeholders, they still don't see themselves into the Tobago Carnival and how they are benefiting from these October activities. And therefore it warrants expert evaluation and consultation. It's not enough that the THA sits down with who they have. You need experts to come in. I mean, we had a meeting online the other night with, about a week ago with Dr. Keith Nurse, on our Tobago Legislative Series, Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m. And he was able to share with us that our challenge is we don't have enough experts, festival experts, running our festivals to truly get the returns on investment that we can. Other international countries are doing it. They get, and they could measure the returns that they get from the investments that they make. But we're not using the people who are right here, sitting at our feet. We're not using them. Dr. Nurse is a key one. Dr. Vanas James, they are evaluating and doing things all over the world, and they're sitting right here, and we're not utilizing their services. I still don't understand that. But, however, it is time for us to become more innovative about monetizing the assets that we have in our backyards. And so today, the idea wants to share with you a part of our vision for the National Carnival in Tobago, which also attracts, we have a lot of cruise ships during that period. So we have to create an attractive national carnival activity in Tobago, which not only provides for our preservation and community spirit, but also drives economic activities. And so we're saying a visionary THA, an innovative THA, must establish the World Next Gen Carnival. The World Next Gen Carnival. What is that? And this is a carnival centered around a large-scale, safe and engaging event with kiddies and teens in the areas of Mass, Pan, and Calypso. Holding this during the National Carnival period can position Tobago as the premier destination for family-oriented carnival activities. Why would this work? Well, because the people who really love carnival over the years are now becoming grandparents and young grandparents, and their children now still want to experience carnival. So they want to drop the children and run off and do their carnival. And so if we understand that, we understand that there is a market waiting for us. The market where we tell those grandparents, bring the children, come to Tobago, leave the parents, let them enjoy themselves in Trinidad. You come to Tobago, bring the children, and get the children involved in the kiddies and teen carnival in Tobago. That is a safe space that you all can enjoy. And so we are marketing that, not just to Trinidad, but also to the world. Bring the children, come. You go, parents go in Trinidad, enjoy your carnival, and the grandparents, great-grandparents, because they are very young great-grandparents these days, bring the children, come to Tobago, and we offer you the safest space to have the carnival, thereby preserving the next generation of carnival enthusiasts and participants. And so you get to incorporate all facets of the carnival experience